Hi there, you're here with me, Kirsty Denny, on the Ananda Rose show with the Neurodiversity Controversy segment. And I'm really excited to have with me tonight, his morning, Stephen May from the UK. And I first came across Stephen because I joined his Facebook group, actually, Presume Competence. And a lot of you who are listening might already associate those words with autistic non-speakers and the use of spelling, which is what the group is based around. So, welcome, Stephen.
Firstly, thank you very much for having me. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to wherever the listeners are in the world. Um, it's a pleasure to be here and kind of like a new part of a new experience. I feel very privileged to be where I am. And yeah, to thank an awful lot of people who've opened my eyes, my heart, and my mind.
So good. So, give us a little bit of background about how you came to be interested in non-speakers and to start up your group and your writings and the things that you do.
Well, as you asked that question, I've gone completely goose pimply. It happens to me so often, so often. It's amazing. Um, what I would be described as a completely neurotypical person with no knowledge, experience, or even understanding of the non-speaking autistic community. Didn't know anybody in the category, didn't have no connection. Stumbled, was a kind of listener of the Joe Rogan podcast, but always to just the sign anyone who wasn't a comedian. If I saw the word comedian in the bio, I wouldn't listen to it. Um, but I would listen to all of the other people that he interviewed. And I have a job where I'm on the road a lot in the car, so I have time. And I just used to listen to the ones that I found interesting. And I stumbled across him just pre-Christmas, I think, talking about the telepathy tapes, and I thought, oh, that's an interesting one. And then I should listen to that. And then I kind of made a mental note to do. I don't remember writing it down or anything. And you know how Siri and your phone listening to what you talk about or say or listen to.
Shows you later. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of in a week or so. I think the Spellers movie popped up on my YouTube feed. And I remember thinking, I'll have to listen to that or watch it. And it's an hour and 22 minutes long. And I thought, oh, okay, I need to have a bit of concentration time to do that. And then on the 10th of January, we moved um, from one part of the UK to the other. So I had a van to move the house. And I knew I'd be going up and down for like 4 or 5 journeys backwards. And I thought, there's my time. And that's how I started. I listened to the telepathy tapes. I got 48 minutes in, I think it was, and I had to pull my car over on the side of the road, and I just cried my eyes out. And I cried my eyes out because I discovered a way in which non-speakers could communicate, which was 100% successful. And why didn't everyone know about this? And why didn't every non-speaker have a spelling board in their hand? Like I just, it it blew my mind. Like it just blew my mind that there was something uh, that that could not solve a problem, but enable something to happen that wasn't being done. And I bombed through over the course of I think 3, 4 days all of the telepathy tapes that were out up until January. I then was I've got a bit of a data mind, and I kind of made notes of if there was anyone in the UK that spoke on it, then I would kind of like dive onto the internet and kind of see if I could reach out to them or connect with them. And Facebook was amazing. I found a group fairly early on um, that I joined that was about autism telepathy, and I think there are 1,000 members, something like that. It's now I think 20,000. Um,
Mm.
and that message is getting spread out and people are discovering it, and the articles in there were amazing. There are parents kind of explaining what happened to their children. And then I started buying the books. So books that were referenced by anybody, anything that was there that a non-speaker had authored. And I mean like over the last 50 years, because there's a lot of books. Like there were different methodologies, but some kind of parents just discovered someone could wiggle their finger, and that one wiggle turned into yeses and nos, and then they discovered that something else could happen. Like, and then there were people that found spelling, and their children were spelling straight away on a 24 letter board, like 26 letter board. Sorry,
I didn't catch it.
can't that one. Second time I've got that wrong. Um, and so the information that was there was nearly 50 years worth of books. So I was able to, and bearing in mind, um, when I was my my early life, I have optical dyspraxia, so I see double all the time, and I couldn't read until I was 13. Even now, if you hand me a sheet of paper to read it out loud, I'll delegate it to somebody else to do. I'm very, very uncomfortable. If I've authored the words, then yeah, I can read them out loud, but no, I'm I find it very difficult. And I discovered that optical dyspraxia was something that many, many autistics have, like north of 60% have double vision or double vision and misaligned vision. So a tilt or an axis over the top of one. So one set of letters like this one. Anyway, that's optical dyspraxia. I'd also worked in the audio industry with a brand of headphones that became world famous that everyone knows. So I understand audio and listening. So I understand why autistics wear headphones, but I also understand frequency from a previous job where I worked in the antenna and broadcasting industry. So I understand how signals are sent, so the wider aspect of different things. At 2 days old, I had pyloric stenosis, which is no connection, no hole in the stomach to go down to your intestines. So
Mm.
after the operation, in my entire life, I can feel my food, so I can feel the inside of my body. So I know lots about that. My other half has oh, Crohn's disease. Oh gosh, the moment where you
Thing. It'll come
know
back to
the
you.
ulcerative colitis, really bad. So she has
Yeah.
digestion problem and
Mm.
a bowel problem. So we've done 4 years of research into that to help her, and now she's pretty much stable. But she was very, very ill, like 9 times in hospital in 1 year.
Yeah.
So I learned about digestion and food and what goes in, and the staggering thing, which our skin is on the outside, and then our skin goes in our mouth, and it's our bowel. And it's like it's the same thing, It's like there's not a disconnect. It's skin,
Yeah.
Yeah, and how putting stuff on your skin and how it absorbs in on the inside. I learned that. So all of these things became massive amount of knowledge, and my learnt knowledge in the normal environment combined with what I was reading in the books was I'd read a paragraph in one book and then in another book it would appear in a couple of lines. And I'd go, hold up, these two things are related. Like they're saying the same thing and they're 50 years apart. And
Yeah.
this is really important because I've never seen it. Like I've never, where would you find this out? So I started to write articles, and literally I'd wake up in the night on my phone, and I'd just write like that. And it was almost as though the words weren't coming from me. Like that's the only way I can describe it. I knew I was typing it, but I would wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and type for 3 hours
Yeah.
on a
And where do
phone.
you think inspiration comes from? Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like,
I know I'd read it. I know I'd read it, so it was there. But
yeah,
joining
but
the
it's like,
dots was the bit that really wowed me. And
mm,
and and what happened was I suddenly began to see regular things becoming common in words and phrases in books. And and in these books were the parents talking about no one had done presumed competence in my child. And I the words just stuck with me. And I kind of went, right, if I presume competence in myself, then I can learn this. Like I'm not stupid, you know. I can learn something. everybody learned something from scratch. And it was almost like self-motivation. And I read it and it kind of related to my a little bit of my knowledge in all of these different areas. And then I started to write it. Once I've written a few articles, I kind of thought, well, I should put these somewhere so people can find them. And I didn't want to go down a published route. Like I didn't want to give someone the knowledge to create money from it. It's really hard to explain, but I didn't know where to start telling people. So I thought, you know what? I'll start a Facebook group up. It'll just be me posting all of these and I'll just post them and that's it. I didn't tell anyone about it. I just like started posting or putting the articles there. And I'd find a picture or I'd try to get a picture generated to match it and I'd like stick the one picture with the article. And the hardest part was just like making sense of these things. The first article I wrote was called "The Six Buckets of Regulation," and I had this vision of sensory input being like a tap. So imagine sound. Everybody has a bucket underneath, and there are six buckets for each of the five for the core senses, and then underneath it, an emotional bucket. So you've got sight, sound, taste, touch, blah, 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 and hearing. So if you imagine sound, the each person above their bucket has a tap, and the tap is their tolerance. So it's how much they can have coming in. So you can turn that tap on, and the tap will fill the bucket with water. And at some point, that bucket overflows. And what happens to an autistic person is that single sense on its own can overflow the sensory bucket and put it into the emotional bucket, which is wide because it covers all the senses, and it's very shallow. So the emotional bucket can overflow really easily. It's almost like a saucer, not a bucket. And
Yeah.
then that causes the stimming, the dysregulation, the meltdown. And it can be overflown from any of the sensory buckets. Some of their buckets are bigger, maybe touch is bigger, or like they're all that's
Yeah.
unique.
Varies on the individual, of course. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I kind of got this metaphor almost that enabled it to me to explain it. And I think within 2 weeks it had had 1 million views around the world.
Mm. That makes sense to
And
me
that
because I think a lot of people have an idea of what you're talking about, but this it's a nice, succinct, visual way that you've expressed it that makes it very clear. And it's
I'd
just
like to say the one
super
thing I'm not
helpful.
I don't do social media. So I don't not really a social media person. So people were telling me, "Oh, this group's private, and I want to share this with people." And I'm like, I haven't got a clue. Like,
Make
how
it
do I
shareable.
enable people? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Can you send this to me in a PDF?" And I'm like, oh, I don't know how to do that. Like, I work in technology, but it wasn't something I didn't have an intention to do it. So I started writing. The articles would come out every night. Every night I'd go to sleep. I'd wake up 3 o'clock in the morning. Boom, learn something. Type it out. And I was reading continuously. I can read a book in a day now.
Mm.
And I can go through and like absorb the information pretty quickly. Um, and I read I think 120 books in a year. And the knowledge just kind of came in, and then the articles would come out, and then I'd watch a podcast, and I go, "Oh, that these people are talking about that, and that's in that book, or it was in that book," and I kind of think about it. I go to sleep at night, I wake up, and then the article would come, and I'd write it, and I'd edit it, and and then put it out there, and then the responses would just be there was a deluge. Now, what I did in the beginning was I wasn't posting on the presumed competence page because I wasn't always sure I was right. So I would post it in a number of autistic um, groups, and read the feedback to make sure that the comments were, if people said, "Oh, you've forgotten about this," I go, "Oh, okay." Oh, like you're only talking about five senses or seven senses, and there's nine, and I'm like, well, okay. But if I start talking about the sixth sense, then you lose people, you know? And I want to keep people on the
Yeah.
journey
You
so that
lose
they
some
discover.
people, but you gain others. But yeah, it depends who you're trying to reach. If you want to reach the biggest range of people, to assist them. But here we're
Yeah,
on a spiritually themed channel, so
yeah.
you're
And it was
golden.
for me, it was how I tried to get it was I looked at the numbers of people just in the UK. So in the UK there are nearly I think it's 330,000 parents waiting for an autism diagnosis, of which about a third of those are non-speakers broadly. There are 31 million non-speakers around the world who have no methodology to communicate at scale. So
Yeah.
we kind of need to do something about it. And that was my that was it. That was what hit me. I have I don't want to, I have dreams, I have awarenesses, and I have knowing. And that my journey in discovery has kind of enabled me to write all these articles. There are more than 100 written now that have come there, and there are lots in the beginning where I had to kind of, how I would describe it is I had to put guardrails up on what I was doing, because to be accepted by most people, you need a guardrail at the I think my I think that my child is having challenges communicating is the first part. Um, and then the last part is I know my child is communicating with me in a way I don't understand. And if you
Mm.
have like six variations in there, you can catch a parent, help a parent at any stage of their autism journey at any age who's yet to discover spelling. So the idea is if I can put guardrails there, and at the far end, on the sixth area where I know my child's trying to communicate with me in some form I don't understand, that's a glass wall, because through it is what general people, neurotypical people would call telepathy, but is way, way beyond that. And my my knowing is that those guardrails are there in order, in America, for example, you have to have a guardrail at telepathy because they can't get insurance for that. Um,
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
because currently, prior to the telepathy tape documentary coming out, there is no large scale proof of non-verbal communication.
Mm.
However, there will be that, exactly that, and lots more in that documentary. Um, but at the moment, there's a hard wall there. It's glass because we can see through it, but it's still a hard wall. Um, what I've done is I've kind of kept presumed competence in those six lanes, but I've done my journey over the wall
Mm.
because I needed,
Because you
I
naturally lived there, right?
yeah, I've gone and experienced non-speakers communicating. I've experienced telepathic communication. I am 100% beyond doubt. I have seen it for myself. And a skeptic has to go through that journey
Mm.
because that breaks everything that you thought you knew. Like I I I knew I was experiencing it from a long time ago, but had no concept of how to communicate. Never met anyone I could ever talk to about it. And I've, from a spiritual perspective, I've I was in materialism bucket and I was buried deep in it. And then I found a way to explain it, which was, um, when you go to a magic show and you suspend disbelief for a while,
Mm.
suspension of disbelief is one thing. If you fall in love, there's no logical reason. You can't weigh it, measure it, count it, compare it, contrast it, report on it, and publish it. It's like, oh, what is it? Just a feeling. And I opened myself up to feeling.
Mm.
And like some things happened at home where for the last, it's now been nearly 4 years. I'd get in the car and my other half would say to me, she'd say something random. And I'm like, I'd look at her and go, I was just thinking that. And
Yeah, random. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And now it like I know it happens and I know she senses my thoughts beyond a doubt. Like every single day
Mm.
she does it. And and it's multiple times a day, and I'm okay with that.
I was just about to joke, look out, wives are quite good at that generally, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
But I've just
But
had,
that's also yeah, but that's also because of the feelings that they're comfortable with A expressing and B
Yes.
receiving, and we are taught those things. We're uh, as a guy, most of us guys are like, nah, no way, and just turn their back on something. But you can you can experience things which are silly things like you think about someone and they phone you.
Yeah.
Like I did an experiment. I watched a video on YouTube a few days ago that said you can get people to communicate with you, and here's how to do it. And I was like, okay, I'm in for a penny, in for a pound. Let's have a go at this. Two random people. Okay, the first one contacted me in 72 hours. Sorry, first one was in 48 hours. Second one within 72 hours. I chose the producer of a movie, and I chose someone I hadn't spoken to for a long time. And both pieces and I made a note on my phone, screen grabbed it, so the date and time was there. The emails came in, screen grabbed them, date and time was there. I keep a record of the things that happen to me where they're significant. So when I talk to someone, I can go, there you are, there you are. Um, one of the things that happened to me when I first opened myself up in terms of the spiritual side, it's always been there in this journey, and I've kind of woken up, as I said earlier, and just written, and I know it's not my words. I was traveling in Germany last year with my colleague from work, and we had a conversation. I explained what was happening to me, and I said, "Yeah, I'm sure one day during these 4 days, whilst we're away, it will happen." And sure enough, that night I woke up 3 o'clock in the morning, typed it, finished typing, closed my phone, fell asleep for an hour, woke up, and said to him, "Oh, I've got something to show you." And I pasted over what I'd written during the night and pressed play. It was an amazing article all about consciousness, which I then published in the group. Um, and he just sat there, just like mouth agog, and just was like, "How do you know that?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't know, just stuff comes."
Yeah. I just want to say, yeah, I think it's kind of a divine synchronicity that you were drawn into this and you had all those experiences that could be integrated, especially once you started researching and that kind of patterns recognition. I would question whether you're the most neurotypical person. But obviously it all depends on what your definition of neurotypical is, which is a very vague thing in and of itself.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
but I
I'm
also
normally
think,
mentioning I'd never
yeah,
I'd never go for a diagnosis because I feel I fit within the yeah, what is
the
normalcy? Like
norm, yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. And I think often, you're saying you were quite skeptical. Very often the people who go on to end up becoming the most um, impactful communicators, the builders of bridges kind of are people who start off being skeptical, mainstream in inverted commas. And it's this really fascinating arc. And it creates this almost magnetic pull, a way of bringing people with you. And I think it's incredibly beautiful, really.
I love the way you just used something of the bridge analogy. So let me give this one to you. When I created Presumed Competence, I understood that there were two sides of a river. One was the speller, the
Mm,
non-speaker, and the other one was the communication partner, the person that was working with them. So they are two banks. There is a bridge that spans the two banks, and that is presumed competence. When the bridge is lowered from the communication partner to the speller, when that bridge is level, then belief is enabled, and love is the currency that flows between the two of them that enables
mm,
communication to happen. Um, that's a graphic I've created to just explain that. It's about three things: presumed competence, belief, and love. Each one of those are phases that either as parents or individuals we go through in order to enable and facilitate communication with a non-speaker. Presumed competence is you have to know beyond doubt within the center of your heart that they are A, in there, B, wanting to communicate, and see that you presume competence in yourself at the same time. So you know that you know, and that knowing enables and facilitates regulation. There's an amazing book called The Harmonic Child by a lady called Sarah Wilfred, um,
mhm,
that is about regulating without communicating. It's about getting yourself in the right position to be in the right position for your child. So presumed competence is both in yourself and your child. The second part is, sorry, imagine for a moment if you had tape over your mouth and your hands tied to your side, and the only sense that you can really always use is you can't close your ears. Okay, so sound always comes in. If you'd spent your entire life in that position, you would have heard a lot, and somehow through the amazing capabilities of all of us, we can work stuff out. You know? And what I've discovered through the books is that the children, when they can spell, write these things and explain it. And it's in hundreds of books.
yeah.
Um, do you know Katie Asher and Houston?
Yes, I've not read their book yet, but
Okay.
I would like to. Yeah. Yeah.
It's 180 pages of absolute horror for the first 180 pages. It's awful. Like it's really,
Mm,
really hard. It's heartbreaking and sad.
yeah.
And then you get to page 180 and the world changes. And and it's staggering. Okay.
Hmm.
And what I when I read her book, she was that was one of the first ones. I Here's wonderful word of synchronicity. I'll get back to presumed competence, belief, and love, and get back to explain those parts. Um, I ordered her book. I was at an exhibition in London in February, I think it was, beginning of Feb, end of January. I'm sat in a meeting. It's the last meeting of the day, and suddenly this word appears in my head. Like literally, the word appears in my head. It's in my notepad because I wrote it on the notepad. I'm in the middle of a meeting, and this word appears. This random odd word, mudman. I'm like, why am I thinking mudman? Right. And I wanted to get it out of my head so I could carry on with the meeting. So I wrote in capital letters, drew a big box around it and lots of lines. I'm like, why after it? Folded it up, went home. On the Saturday, my wife said, "Oh, this massive book's arrived for you." And I'm like, "Oh, right, okay." Open it. It's the Book of Heaven by Katie Asher and Houston. Um, and I read the intro and I stop because the last words in the first paragraph in the introduction say, and he turned mud into man. And I have this total goose pimply moment. Right? All right. Oh my goodness. I run downstairs to my other half and I say, I got this word in my head when I was in this meeting. I'm holding up my notebook and I'm holding in the other hand, I've got the Book of Heaven. And I said to her, I don't know where this word came from. And it's in this first paragraph of this book. Like it says the same thing. My other half looked at me and said, "Do you remember in lockdown I said I was going to write a children's book?" I went, "Yeah." She went, "What was the title?" Mudman. And she'd written a
No.
book,
No.
right? During lockdown, yeah. I mean, like one of those crazy things everybody did, like
Mm.
maybe not quite so much for you guys in New Zealand, but for us it was. Um, and she'd written it. So I found an email address in this book, Book of Heaven, and I wrote this. Oh my goodness, you're not going to believe this coincidence little story to what I thought was the publisher's email address and sent it. 48 hours later, I got a reply back from Katie that said, "This is absolutely," and I'm going to choke up. Sorry, I get quite emotional.
Mm.
She said, "There's a wonderful journey ahead of you of discovery, and um, this is you will know many more things as you progress through it." So it was very, very kind. I was like, "Oh my goodness, the author has written back to me. That's
To
amazing."
me,
Like, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, to me, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then when I got to a page 180 and I read Houston's first words that he spelled when he was asked if you could have a t-shirt, what would you print on it? And they were his first open words. I contacted a friend and we made the t-shirt for him. And I kind of communicated with her back and forth over that time. And we sent the t-shirt to him and they sent me a photograph back. And it was just absolutely amazing moment to see his t-shirt on him that he wrote. And then with a friend, we kind of created a page where people could their speller's first words, they could get them printed on a t-shirt. It was just a simple thing. It wasn't, and we gave all of like whatever revenue came from went back to Katie and Houston. But presumed competence was or is that's the first stage. Like and if you, in my case, um, I suddenly started to believe. There's a lady called um, Dahlia Burgoyne, who is the mum of a non-speaking autistic that spells called Lidu. I watched a video of her, and um, I I can't remember how I came across it, but the first video was her a year ago at something called the Psy Games, and she was demonstrating mind sight.
Mhm.
So put a blindfold
Yeah.
on and see through the blindfold. She got a bucket of children's coloured blocks and was able to sort them as fast as you could if you were sighted.
Mm.
She had a blindfold on with eye patches and another one over the top. And I thought, she's the mum of an autistic person. She's barely got time to breathe.
Yeah. True.
Like she's not selling anything here. She's showing. And I believe her. I believe her. 100% I believe this is possible because there's nothing special. And I watched probably 19 hours of videos of her on YouTube over the course of that week. Um, and I wrote down everything that she said. And then on a road trip in October, I took my dad to Scotland and we went to a hotel room. And I said to him, "Dad, you're my biggest skeptic, but you're also my biggest supporter. I want to ask you to do something with me." And he said, "Okay." I pulled out a blindfold and I had the funniest look from my dad I've ever had. And I said, "Will you try this with me? We're just going to play. We're just going to be kids again. And we're going to laugh and joke, and there's no wrong answers. And I'm going to try something with you. Will you do it?" And he was like, "Okay." And half an hour later, um, once we'd done kind of a walkthrough of it, again, I was giving my dad two, they were tea bag in the hotel room in different colors. So I ripped the tops
Nice.
off together, like
Hmm.
made sure they were exactly the same, took the tea bags out and gave him two different colored pieces of square paper. And over the course of 15 minutes, I asked him to tell me which one was different. And he was either able to identify 15 times out of 15 the same one. I kept on swapping them around and putting behind my back. And sometimes I give them to him together. So we kind of separate them. And he got 15 out of 15. And I was like, I know it's true. And,
Total
and
coincidence, right? Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, it's a little bit like the word placebo. Okay, so
Mm.
placebo, the placebo effect is belief. The person believes it's going to work. So the
And we
second
know
part
it's real, and we still disregard the incredible implications of that. Yeah.
I have fun talking to the doctors, and I always ask a doctor what if I show someone who's a professional in that area, something that I know, and I have a couple of qualifying questions. I ask them what the placebo effect is, and they explain it to me, and I was like, oh, so it's belief. The patient believes it's going to work, and it works. Yes. Okay. So I believed I was going to get better from my heart issue that I had, and I believed it with 100% certainty, not with 99.9. And I had no medical intervention, and I was a recipient of what you would call a miracle. And you put it down to a 1 in a million. Well, I can tell you it's not. So, belief, once you believe in something, it will or has happened because you are already at you am it. I am it already. I I know that what I'm doing with presumed competence will be a website once I'm ready to press the button. And within 18 months, we will have a spelling practitioner in every town or city in the UK, which means that people have to drive half an hour to get to an appointment. I know I can do that within 18 months. I have to put the structure in place to enable and facilitate it. And to do that, there's some aspects of government that I've got to work with, some aspects of education, there's some aspects of funding, there's some aspects of the methodology. Um, there's proof, there's academic study that needs to go in the background. But it took 100 years for sign language from when they knew it worked for it to be implemented and accepted. It took 100 years for Braille from when they knew it worked to be accepted and implemented. I am not willing for spelling to take that long. I will
Yeah,
do
that's
it in
that's
a
that's really
2 months.
exciting. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's
But
accelerating.
but where it has to come from is we have to understand that predominantly the SLT, speech and language therapists,
Yes.
occupational therapists are female in the main, not all, but female in the main.
Hmm.
And that's the group of young females we have to influence to discover spelling, to discover the spellers movie, to then look at the methods and find commonality in the methods because there's been kind of at least 6 different methods, to my knowledge, of communicating for non-speakers. Parents, when they first discover it, only discover one because someone recommends it. And you've kind of got to go, it's not methodology specific. They've got better over time because they've added something to it or they've built upon something else. They're not competitive, they're complementary. And it's like um, having lots of brands of cars. They all still get you from A to B.
Yes, and it
And
is very frustrating to think of all the people who have missed out on being able to communicate and still are, but it's also very encouraging the way things are moving faster
what
now because,
what
as I said to you when my child was young, I read work by Susie Miller and she didn't do spelling, but she communicated telepathically with autistic children and there'd be other people who knew long ago and of course parents because parents are often very intuitive with their children if we don't squash it down.
the
And now with
society.
the telepathy tapes, it's just gone boom, and it's so encouraging. It really is.
It's amazing to see. I was very lucky to meet Kai last year when she came to the UK, and uh, for me it was like meeting Spielberg.
Yeah.
And I said that to her. I just like, and she said to me, it was really weird because she said to me, "Do you want a photograph?" And I'm like, No, I don't need a photograph to I don't need a photograph to remember this, like it's not to me it wasn't it was just it was meeting somebody that unlocked a door that meant it could be opened. And that's what I saw in what she was doing and and what she's done since. There are lots of areas that started other people to go, right, okay, we need to do this. I organized uh, someone who works in the intuitive mind space to go and work with a college and record a lecture. And and what I saw in the lecture that they recorded was like, wow, this could be in the education system to teach kids how to learn intuitively and to know and to build their confidence. And it's like there are so many aspects of things that can be done. I've come into this as philanthropically, entirely philanthropically. I have nothing to sell. I will never charge anything that I've for doing something. I don't want any money. I don't I don't need any money to do it. What I'm doing is reading other people's writing and turning it into articles that take 5 minutes to read that can change your mind, that can open presumed competence, that can help you to understand what your belief is, not mine. Don't care about my belief, care about your belief. Because if you believe your child can communicate with you and you believe you can sense how they feel, then then you're already moving forwards and progressing. The love is what, as parents, we have for our children, uh, and we can open that love wider to more than just individuals. And it's kind of like a collective consciousness piece. I've become um, uh, much much more knowing of the fact everybody is connected. I've taken down walls that were there before. But presumed competence, belief, and love are the golden keys. They open everything else. If you if you actually believe that your child could communicate with you telepathically, where would you need to be in order to enable that to happen? And telepathically isn't just mind reading. So, for example, if I say to you one word, okay, I want you to describe what it means to you in feelings. Okay, you ready, Kirsty?
And you want me to do it now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
really simple. One word. Same thing for everyone to listen to this podcast. If I say the word Christmas, how does it feel?
For me, it feels a bit tight and intense.
Okay,
Yeah.
because there's
Yeah.
lots going on. There's lots
Yeah,
going on.
it's full
There's
on.
noise, there's smells, there's prep, there's
There's lots
there's
of stimulation,
coordination,
there's
energy.
obligation, there's consumerism, and obviously different people have different
Mhm.
experiences. But as you
But your
say, the word
your
evokes a lot.
yeah, and it brings together all of your senses.
Mm.
Like all of your senses are in there, and all of your thoughts are in there as well. And you've molded this into a thing that is yours, not mine. Mine's completely different from yours. Um, mine's yours is unique. And what happens is we have that understanding of the uniqueness of what we can bring into our minds in one word. From a telepathy perspective, imagine me giving you my Christmas.
Yes, it's not a word, it's like a multi-sensory experience.
And
Yeah.
that's part of what it's about. It's not, can you hear me? Can you hear my thoughts? If there's a piece in the first episode introduction of the telepathy tapes where Katie Asher says these words that Houston spelled, right? Talking about telepathy. You don't get these gifts if you lie. Now, that was so powerful for me. And I stick my hand up and say, most of my life I have told fibs.
Yeah, that's a really
Yeah.
interesting thing in terms of human evolution because I do believe we can all develop these skills and we all will eventually. And how can you be dishonest when you know everyone can knows what you're thinking, what you're feeling?
But take it the other way around, right? And 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 understand that there are only two things, love and fear. And fear is just not love. Okay? It's not knowing. So if you could put yourself in the space of love always,
Mm.
then your fear doesn't, it's not there. It doesn't appear. Why? Because if I said you could read my mind now, what have I got to hide? If it's done with genuine, like, what have I got to hide? I'm not
Yeah.
selling anything, I'm not buying anything. We're communicating openly about something which is in our hearts. You have, and your audience has, a piece in their heart which is about knowing children, being, I was going to say accommodating. You love them, you love your kids. We all love our kids. We all learn to love something. There's a commonality between two people. And if you can share that commonality, it's your heart space and you're connecting. And that connection enables feelings to be transmitted between two people. And that's the honesty. I've
Mhm.
In the last month, I've one of the people that was on episode 10 of the telepathy tapes, who is a non-speaker, someone read their words, and their words hit me like a freight train. They described where they were being kept in an institution was like a prison. And I cried when I heard it. I pulled my car over. I wrote down the words that they said exactly. And now this put, oh, sorry, hold myself together for a moment. And now this person is enlightening me to many, many, many other things. And it's a year and a half ago. And how the heck did that happen? Um, I've experienced things, communication from this person individually and via an intermediary, which are are so deeply spiritual and knowing that it
Mhm.
makes me, even to try and talk about it, I emotionally like have to hold myself in for a moment because I know that I've been nudged, directed, cajoled. I don't want to use manipulated, but like pushed in the right direction on occasions. Um,
Yeah.
to make sure this happens. And it's been an amazing experience. And everything that's come as a result of it has been beautiful. And it's like the presumed competence, belief, and love are in each part of those things are there. And the journey of reading the articles that I wrote in the Facebook group just helps people to discover more about them. I think you and I connected on the Puff the Magic Dragon one.
Yes, yes. So that was I don't even know how I came to find your Facebook group initially. I'm probably in similar groups and so, there was crossover. But that writing just really drew me in and I was like, oh, I've got to talk to this guy. So it was maybe we can post it in the description or the comments. We'll see later. But it was this incredibly insightful, beautiful analysis of why so many non-speaking children just adore this song, Puff the Magic Dragon, and all the things that evokes and the things that the child might be trying to communicate. Now I'm getting, and I was like, holy crap, that was my favorite song when I was a little girl. And
Yeah.
I had a tape because, those are the times.
Yep.
I didn't have a record, so you can guess my age. And I just listened to it as many times as I could, and it evoked the most beautiful sense of nostalgia. And that's without even getting into the idea of, well, maybe dragons are real and all of the rest of it. But I was just so taken by the way you drew out the aspects of that song. And you've done it with quite a lot of other songs, I believe, haven't you?
Yeah, I one day I came across, I think the guy was called Stories of Autism. I think that's a guy on Facebook. Just he just wrote a book actually. I've ordered it but haven't got it yet. Um, and um, he doesn't have spelling children at the minute, but he runs a company. I think it's called SAA, Stories About Autism. Yeah, that's right, SAA, Story About Autism. Um, and in one of his articles, there were 320 parents that posted that their children played specific songs over and over and over again. And I was like, okay, there's two answers to that. One, it's stimming, or two, it's an intention to communicate. And
Or
so
both
what I
at the
did,
same time.
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
and all I did was I I started I did a crazy thing one night for 4 hours. I just sat down in the middle of the night, like one of those 3 a.m.
Because
starts.
you're so neurotypical, this is why you did that. Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah. Yeah.
It only started once this whole journey began. But
Yeah.
I then Googled every lyric to every song that they were writing about and
Mm.
wrote a reply on every post to every parent going, you need to not listen to the music and Google the words because your child is trying to communicate with you. Uh, and there was a lot. And one of them, which caught me by surprise, because back in the 90s, it was my dance floor burner, the one you always got on the dance floor for. And it was a House of Pain Jump Around. And I loved the
We
song.
all know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually discovered it the day it came out, and then it was released like three times before it became a hit. Um,
Mm.
and I got back when I was a kid, I got the 7 inch, the 12 inch, the extended. I had everything. I love that song. I Googled the lyrics and I was shocked to my core what the lyrics said because
Mm.
there's a line in it that says, and the kids on the hill told their mum and their dad, their mum and their pops. And I'm like, hold up, the hill is in there? Whoa. That's
Yeah.
really
And so for people who don't know, just clarify what the hill is, or, or maybe.
so in the telepathy tapes, I think probably episode 2, Katie Asher and Houston, her son, Houston described a place that he went to called the Hill, and he coined the phrase the Hill. It's a non-local space where, and I use the word space without knowledge of it, place, not place, where non-speakers collectively meet each other, like a social gathering is probably the right word to use. Now, that that space is where they find solace, I guess, and companionship and friends and the things that they can do because they don't speak, they don't use that part of the engine, and it enables the other elements of them to be able to be aware of more things, and that's where they collectively go. So I saw the hill in there, and I was like, wow, that's in these lyrics. And then I read the lyrics linked to thinking about the hill, and this pop song that's a dance floor burner suddenly turned into a piece of communication for non-speakers. There's one
And
line
that,
in
yeah.
there that kind of didn't make any sense, but the rest of the song was like, wow. Like imagine a non-speaker saying, get up out of your seat and jump around. You know, like, um, and there were many, many other songs. Puff the Magic Dragon for me was I only discovered. Oh gosh, I'm going to start crying again. 2 seconds, sorry. Okay. Um, I only discovered a few months ago. I sat down with my parents and we had a long. They know about my journey and I've spoken to them quite a bit about it. But we had a conversation where my parents told me that up until I was about 4.5, I had an imaginary friend, and I don't remember this.
Yeah, the imaginary friend. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And I
yeah.
know, I know it was linked to Puff the Magic Dragon because the story of Puff the Magic Dragon is what resonates with me. It's the story of losing a friend.
Mm.
And And I know that's why it's here in me, because I know that someone, or I left someone, or someone left me. And that's the haunting nature, is the only word I can you think to describe the haunting nature of that
Yeah.
song,
It's
is the
so haunting. I
separation.
remember being so sad listening to it, but still loving it so much. It's where it's like, it's that nostalgic yearning for something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so when I was writing the article, it was because someone else had posted it in that group, and it resonated with me, and that was the one that I was like, oh my goodness. And I kind of thought, I tend to read something, sleep on it, and then write about it. And and that's how it happened. I just kind of wrote it. And so the presumed competence, belief, and love parts were all key. Then the understanding and knowing came next. And then the communication with non-speakers. So for example, this is gonna blow your mind. Okay. So
I'm
one of the
ready.
non one of the non-speakers that communicated with me told me that I am known by a nickname, and they gave me my nickname. Okay. They told me what my nickname was. Now, I'm not going to say it out loud for this reason.
Is it rude? Yeah.
No, 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 not at all. No, no, not at all. Because I talked to do you know Betsy Hicks Russ? Betsy on the Go is her YouTube channel, and she reached out to me a while back, and we had a conversation for about 20 minutes. And during that conversation, I kind of told her what presumed competence was, what I was trying to do, why I was trying to do it. She was a member of the group. She'd seen lots of posts. She'd spoken to lots of people that recommended it to her, and but didn't know anything about me. So we had a 20-minute conversation. At the end of it, I said to her, could you do me a favor, please? Could you ask Joe, your son, when you're spelling with him next, if he knows who you've been talking to today? And she said, yeah, okay, yeah. And 4 days later, she sent me a video. And she asked him, do you know, her question was, Joe, do you know who I was speaking to today? And he spelled on a spelling board, yes. Oh, and she went, oh, and who was it? And he spelled out my nickname. And it's only known by the non-speakers. He was in Hawaii. And then I've had other non-speakers ask their parents to reach out to me. And I've had validation of the knowledge of that nickname now from, well, at least that many people who have no connection, no way of knowing.
But they do because it's all connected and it's all in the field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for
So
me, that's
beautiful.
kind of my 100% validation. I have the video, I have it. There are many, many, many other things that have happened to me in the meantime that 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 I've spoken to people about when they've happened, so other people know. I have a word which I decided in March last year would be the word that I needed to use when working with a non-speaking telepathic autistic child, uh, so that we could prove that I was thinking this word and it's written down in one place with one person, and I can make a phone call to validate what that word is. And what I write down will match the word that they've done, so we can prove that live when the time comes. Um, because I know I have to do it. I know I have to make sure that that happens, you know, from the internal part of me, because I don't need it proving. I just need to be able to show somebody that piece. And
Yeah. I mean, gosh, it's such a beautiful vote of confidence and trust on the part of those children that they resonate, they trust to reach out to you. That must
and
feel
I
pretty,
oh
um,
goodness,
yeah.
it's it's a knowing is what I would say it is now. I I'm very comfortable with it. Sometimes it gets a bit overwhelming, and I have to kind of let some water out the bottom of my bucket to regulate myself. But it's it's just being in that position, having gone through this journey, and wanting to share with everyone that they can do this. Like this is not it's within a short arm's length of touch. It's not a big stretch. It's not a leap. You
Mm.
can just put your arm out and you can be there.
Yeah, paradigm shift is happening, and I did interview one non-speaker and his mum on this channel. It was a while ago, and when she was looking for someone to help her with spelling, it was a while ago now, and it was really difficult, and she had to fly someone in from overseas, and a couple of them kind of banded together to pay for it. So yeah, so at that time, and even now, it's not that accessible in New Zealand, and I'm hoping that that's going
So
to
can I
rapidly
give one
shift.
I give one recommendation? So
Hmm.
recommendation would be to everyone that listens to this podcast, spend $10, buy the Speller's Method book, physical book, and then buy the audio version. Why the audio version? You can play the audio version to your children. You can listen
Mm.
to it whilst they listen to it. They have a listening capability that is beyond your belief, and they will know that you are trying to do the work to start the journey of spelling. They will
Mm.
hear
So it's like
all the
reaching out
things.
and being like, yeah,
Yeah,
I
be
want to do
comfortable
this. Yeah.
using the medium of going, they know anyway, but it's a kind of like joint validation.
Mm.
and and then get the printed book because you can highlight the things in the printed book. It basically tells you how to do it. And then there's a website called communication, the number four, communicationforall.org, which is Elizabeth Bonker's. Elizabeth Bonker is a non-speaking autistic um, that has massive amount of videos on parents how to do this with the children. Um, the
Amazing.
challenge that parents have is trying to find them get regulated. So the other book to get in the beginning, there's a Facebook group as well that Sarah has started, Sarah Wilfred, called the Harmonic Child, and that helps parents with regulation before communication. So understanding where you need to be. So, for example, for you, Kirsty, if you're going to employ somebody to work with your children, you'd want them when they come through the room to not be thinking about paying a bill, going shopping, like all the other things that are going on in their head. You want them to come in regulated and neutral. So it's kind of where you need to be as a parent.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't need that for my specific children, but yeah, I
Yeah.
get what you're saying, and the regulation is relevant, or the presence and helping to co-regulate is actually relevant for all of our relationships, with all children, but also adults, because yeah,
And I've
so it's
seen
so valuable. And the other
so
thing to consider is like with parents who have children who have, these high needs, they're having meltdowns, they only eat the certain foods, is it can be overwhelming to think about learning a new thing. That's true even for parents of speaking children, and to think about how am I going to be resourced? How am I going to find the time? How am I going to find the energy? So that's another way that and so that's another thing to, I suppose, overcome with a mindset shift and to help people with. Like if you know parents of non-speaking children, you can present them with things that are going to help them, but also know that they'll be thinking, I'm already so overwhelmed. So that's an
there's
important piece of the puzzle.
going back to where I started. The most important thing for me, there are 6 phases, is to get as many people here at the beginning of their journey as possible. Because at the beginning of your journey, you are 2 years in, okay, and you've kind of known for 6 months before you start the diagnosis journey. In that space is where we need to get spelling awareness of spelling, because then they don't do 15 years not knowing and getting exhausted. So part of the plan is to put those 6 things in so I can catch people wherever they are, but with the primary objective of getting it here. So catch everybody that's further down the road, give them the opportunity to discover, facilitate, and enable, and then work as hard as I can here, because that's where we get to the 18 months reach. So the people we get here are the people that are in that first 18 months, and the people that get here, the network is already built. That has to be done by getting parents of spellers to record 45-second videos explaining why another parent should research it and go and find it and what difference it's made to their family. That's it. And then let the parents go discover it, go research it, go discover it on their feeds on whatever social medias they're able to get time to do. Um, and then once that's done, their journey has started. What we need to do on the other side is create the practitioners and regulation partners, and that has to be in universities, schools and universities, and then back from universities back into schools to educate the people that are taking in the new neurodiverse children, so that I want to get away from, and this is gonna be my only controversial piece, is I don't think that we facilitate the journey of a non-speaker or a neurodivergent person in the right way, because the people that look after them predominantly, not everybody, are the least paid, least motivated, least qualified, least interested people, and we hand our precious children to them. They are not given the support and knowledge that they need to be given simply to understand the core of a human. And that's what this is about. It's the core of a human. It's the
Mm.
heart and mind. It's
Yeah.
presumed competence, belief, and love. They are the three things that are the golden keys that facilitate the understanding. There's a training program, there's things that can be done to help these people, who are the people we put our children with when we need to go and do the things that need to be done outside of their nine to
Yeah,
five day.
absolutely. So, if you think about teacher aides, it's the same in here in New Zealand. A lot of them are incredible people, hearts of gold, as you say, totally underpaid, undervalued, under-resourced. Not enough
The
of them
spellers
because
the
who wants to
spellers
work in
movie
those
alone.
conditions? So we need
Yeah.
to change that.
The
Yeah.
spellers movie alone should be compulsory watching for every person that looks after or engages with a non-speaker.
Mm.
If we started with that, that's enough, because it would at least influence the opening of hearts and minds, because it broke me when I watched it. And I'm from outside the community. I'm not connected at all, and I'm not a teacher. Like, but everything that is coming for the future is kind of centered around where that started. There's then other books and movies and like all sorts of other things. The instruction manual, almost from the speller's method, is key, because you need to start somewhere and you need to know what not to do, why these things are being done. Um, I think when I first started my first week, I did an acronym buster, and it was like 60 acronyms that I didn't know what they meant, and I had to kind of run through a minefield to learn them as quickly as possible.
So just
And
not spelling or non-speaking lingo, you mean, because you were
yeah,
new
yeah.
to that
What's an
paradigm. Yeah,
SLT?
it's the same with anything, isn't
What's an
it?
SLT?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's an
Yeah.
SLT? Speech and language therapist, OT, occupational therapist, just the
Mm.
basics. There's a lot of
Yeah.
them, and it's all hidden in code. And now I've even got to the point of explaining and writing a document that is the entire journey of a parent through diagnosis into education of their child, and all the links to all of the forms you need to fill out and how to fill them out. And I've done all that work because I needed to understand what it was like for a parent. It's a minefield. Okay, AI is great
Mm.
these days because it's an awful lot of that work for you. So if we trained every parent to fill out every form using AI so that they didn't have to worry about it, they could just talk to it and then it fills the form out, how wonderful would that be? But on the other side, the recipients of that information would change the system so they couldn't do that, because it would just clog the system up further, because the system isn't built properly. So let's go back to, let's look at what we need first, how the system needs to be built to in order to facilitate that, and then what can be done to show the cost saving that you can build into the system to make it look like and actually deliver a massive cultural change whilst saving money and
Mm.
enabling lives to be lived.
yeah, it's a huge shift, and I'm totally confident that it's going to happen, and so much more that we can't even really imagine yet. But we're headed there. So
It's done. It's done. We're just walking a path that's already been built for us.
yeah, I mean, time's an illusion anyway. But yeah, yeah, it's like what's our
So there's
experience? That's
there's a
shifting.
wonderful one to wrap you up with on that one. Go and have a Google and look for a sculpture by an artist called Tom Lawton, Lawton, and the sculpture is called Wonder. It's on permanent display in Malmesbury Abbey in Wiltshire in the UK. And it's a 3D sculpture by a young man that I worked with when he was 18, gosh, 26 years ago.
Mm.
And he, many, many years later, created this sculpture. And the sculpture, when you see it, will fill your heart with wonder. And you'll kind of have that moment of understanding what time is, because that's the one thing that people describe when they see it.
Amazing. Yeah. So that's something to look forward to doing.
Yeah. You can
Yeah.
Google it and see it on YouTube and a whole bunch of other places.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on to chat. We could talk so much more, but I think we'll more or less wrap up here for now. And we can share a bunch of
It's lovely to
links.
be
You
able to
can
have this
you can
conversation.
send me some links and all these useful things that you can provide for people to look at, and where they can find you. And then we look forward to the website being up as well.
Yeah, the simplest one is you can find the group Presume Competence on Facebook. It's me that runs it. I kind of occasionally accept posts from other people where they are kind of relevant to the subject matter that's being talked prominently. All the articles are written by myself as um, distillations
We're
from
losing the
books. So
audio a bit
I'm
here,
the
but that's all right.
scriber of the author. The author are the non-speakers, and everything is I can read them or that can be shared. But everything that we've done on the group can deliver the solutions that people need in their lives.
Mm, yeah, perfect. I lost you for a little bit there, but we'll post all the links in the YouTube description. And yeah, anything else you want to finish off with? Any words of
Number one, thank you very much for the
encouragement?
opportunity to talk. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to everybody, and I look forward to reading whatever's posted, whatever's shared, and absorbing as much as I can and sharing that with the world.
Yeah, thank you so much, Stephen.
Great,
And yeah,
greatly
sending love
appreciated.
to everyone, and we'll see you again next time on the Ananda Rose Show with Neurodiversity Controversy.